or in 2 days.
That's true. And look, that's part of consumerism. And it would certainly be a culture shock for Americans to rethink whether or not they need all of this stuff that's made in other countries.
So that's the honest trade-off. Yeah, and I appreciate the honest trade-off.
No, and I am being honest. And look, I acknowledge that people might not agree with me. Most people might not agree with me. But for me, in my personal life, have become a lot more happy in rejecting that consumerist mentality. When I spend my money, I spend on quality items that are going to last. And I just feel better about my purchases knowing that it was made, at least at a time, when people were unionized, when they were actually making living wages, they were succeeding, they were able to buy homes for themselves and their families. I want to go back to that. The fact that most Americans now are not able to buy a home in America is insane. We need to figure out what it is that's leading to this. Well, we know why we have this inequality, what we can do to lessen that economic inequality, because we want more Americans to actually enjoy that slice of the once American dream.
I mean, I think we certainly agree on enjoying the slice of American dream. How we get there is another question.
Yeah.
And when it comes to housing, I will mention that apartments are way bigger than they were in 1980. Houses are way, way bigger than they were
yep.
in 1980. You know, the real question, I think, and this is an open question, I think one that people are going to have to decide, is when it comes to inequality, you can essentially, democratic socialism, which you're an advocate for, redistributes things that are already there. Capitalism generates new and better things. And so the balance has always been, how much can you continue to generate new and better things when you are redistributing what's already there?
Well, you're not taking into account the financialization of our economy, right, which is completely disconnected from productivity. So what I mean by that is we're now in this age where companies don't even really need to focus on productivity when they can do things like corporate stock buybacks.
So, by the way, I agree with a lot of that,
yeah.
and one of the things that has generated that is
the Fed.
The Fed.
Yeah.
The Fed is a disaster area.
Totally agree on that.
The massive infusion.
I agree with that as well. The Fed is an absolute freaking joke. The Fed has done so many things to ruin the economy. It's never been audited. I mean, it's just one of those things that nobody wants to, tackle the Fed. Nobody wants to basically say, you know what, let's limit the powers of the Fed. These guys have, whoever's been put in charge of that, but these are the big bankers, these are the big financial institutions, and they're obviously doing things that are going to benefit them. And in the meantime, while they do that, it absolutely crushes the individual. So I completely agree with Anna and Ben on this aspect of what they're talking about, the Fed and its excesses and how it's completely damaged and ruined economies here in the United States and across the globe. Because when the American economy falls, when there's a recession, when things happen here, the domino effects are felt around the world, folks.
Of tremendous amounts of money and easy credit into the system has led to people doing exactly that. You are 100% right about that. That is true.
And we're also seeing that happen within the housing market, where you have private equity firms who have taken interest-free money, cheap money, thanks to the Federal Reserve. They're just buying up entire neighborhoods of single-family homes that typically would be purchased by actual families.
Again, agree. The Federal Reserve is expending extraordinary resources, and their easy money policies over the course of the last 2 decades have been an absolute disaster for the American economy.
And quantitative easing, honestly, started under the Obama administration. So the fury that middle America feels toward Democrats like Obama, I get it. Because after you just got foreclosed on, after all of that heartache that your family experienced in the 2008 economic crash, you see the banks, you see Wall Street, you see the same individuals literally.
This push-to-drink bottle gives you more energy and better sleep. It also helps you fight disease and aging. Watch this video now before
exploit that crisis to become even wealthier.
Right, and here's where I think this has always been sort of the fascinating divide when it came to, for example, the Tea Party and Occupy Wall Street. So my question always with Occupy Wall Street, which is making some of the same points you're making, is why are you occupying Wall Street? Why aren't you occupying K Street? Like you should be in Washington. I don't understand why you're going after the people. Again, speaking of incentive structures, the people in Wall Street are acting based on an incentive structure. Mm-hmm. That incentive structure is created by the easy money, which is actually being generated by the Treasury Department and the Federal Reserve. One of those things is a thing where you have stock in it. It's called your vote. And one of those things is a place you do not have stock in it, and that's called Wall Street, unless you actually have stock in the company, in which case you go to the shareholder meeting. So it seems to me that the focus should be placed on the origin of the public policy. If you and I can agree that the Federal Reserve should stop pumping money into the economy, and this will naturally lower the amount of easy money that is available for all of these places to buy up all of the single-family homes in Houston, for example, then I think we actually hit agreement. I think where we hit the disagreement is where you say, okay, we need to penalize these companies for buying up the single-family homes.
No.
When I really don't think that that's really the issue.
Well, no, we need to do away with the ability for them to get that easy money and buy up the single-family homes. And honestly, one of the biggest issues, I think part of the reason why, or the main reason why the Obama administration went along with this whole quantitative easing policy is because whether you're talking about Democrats or Republicans, both parties have been captured by those corporate interests thanks to unlimited campaign donations into political action committees, thanks to the fact that our politicians can be personally invested in individual stocks. We need to reform the system. It's not necessarily about punishing Wall Street. It's about getting to the root of the problem, which is the corrupt influence that Wall Street has on our politicians, thanks to how this system is set up.
I don't disagree with any of that particularly, but I would say that there's one additional element that I actually think looms far larger, and that is the political interest in Washington is always going to be in control, and Keynesian economics suggests that the easiest way to avoid blowback for a stagnating economy is to pump money into it. And so if you are in Washington, you're never going to be the president who says, we need to radically increase the interest rates. Right? The interest rates are not meeting with what the actual risk level is in American society. Right now, Biden's taking the heat for it. The reality is that the notion that the Federal Reserve, every president is going to have an interest in pumping money into the system. The more money you pump into the system, the more you inflate the GDP. The more you inflate the GDP, the more people have the impression that things are going splendidly.
True.
The more easy money there is in the system, the more that you do have corporate interests who are backing. All of that's true. But that starts with the amount of control that can be exercised by Washington, which is why, and this is where we'll disagree, I think that Washington should be stripped and castrated, and most of its power should be taken away. And then we don't have to worry about any of this. And all the stuff you want to do at the local level, you can do with your friends. And what I don't want to do at the local level, I can do with my friends. Anna, thank you so much for stopping.
That was classic. Absolutely. Castrate Washington, D.C. Perfect. Basically, castrate the policies, castrate it at the federal, at the Fed level. Because what Ben was basically saying is correct, is that quantitative easing, Keynesian economics, putting that money out into the system, that's what they're going to do. That's what the power brokers are going to do. That's what the policy is going to be able to do. That's where the financial institutions are going to draw their power from, their leverage from. That's what's going to happen. No one's going to ever come out there and basically say, we need to stop pumping. It's just not going to happen. And there's just too much power, too much influence, too much, excess that's going on, which in the corridors of Washington power brokers and the financial institutions and the corporations and the money that's, we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars. And then remember, you're just not talking from the issuance of the United States of America, but you're also talking about the big financial institutions and the global institutions around the world as well that have a say in this. And they're looking at it from the fact of is that how can they make the most money? What can they do to stimulate the economy using whatever procedures and things, policies that they've done in the past? And to continue to pump that easy money into the fund, they love it. If someone's saying, hey, here's $1 million, go ahead and take it, and it's interest free. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to take that money, and then what are you going to do? Invest it, buy up things, do whatever you need to do. But some point in time, someone's going to have to pay the bank. And unfortunately, what's happening right now, it's middle America and the middle class that's basically getting the short end of the stick. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your guest host. My name is Dr. Nasir. Love you to subscribe to a channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Comment below. Let us know what you think. And I'll leave with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. See you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.